Welcome to another edition of the Outstanding People podcast. So, this week I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've been getting a lot of questions from listeners, and I figured it might be kind of cool to pick a few of the questions out and answer them. And I figured I'll do this every once in a while when I get some questions built up. Be nice to maybe just pick a few out and answer them for you. So, that's what I'm going to do this week. And the first question we're going to start off with here is, it says, I'm serving in the Navy and have a few months left in my enlistment. I read your story and want to do something similar to what you did when you get out. I love television and movies, but don't know anyone in the business. How did you make the transition from military to the entertainment field? That's a great question. So first of all, thank you for writing in. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I wholeheartedly appreciate it. So the way when I transitioned out of the military, I didn't have a plan. I knew that I loved the entertainment business, but I didn't know that I can actually work in it. So what I did is I went back to school. I started school while I was in the military, college. And when I got out, I figured I would go back to school. I was going to go. A lot of my friends were in their later years of college. So I would go and hang out with them, and I would finish my degree. While I was in school, I saw a poster on the wall for Tisch School of the Arts, which is a performing arts school in New York at New York University. It's one of the most prestigious performing arts schools around. And it really just invigorated me and brought back those feelings of how much I loved the arts and how much I loved film and television and theater. So I decided that I would audition for the school. And lo and behold, I got in. But how I transitioned into the workforce to actually getting a job in the entertainment field, well, that was through an internship that I did at the Rosie O'Donnell show. And I would say, if you're looking to transition into the field, because I didn't have anybody in the entertainment business that I knew that I can call on or rely on or ask for favors. So I would say the best way to do it would find an internship. If you're not in school and you can't do an internship, I would say find a mentor. There are so many people out there looking to mentor young and up and coming people in their industry. A lot of times too, when you have a curiosity about somebody's profession, people are more than happy to talk about it and tell you about it and give you advice about it. What's better than if you're working your whole life and then somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I love what you do. Can you tell me about it?" Well, of course I can. Why would I not want to talk about what I do? So yeah, find a mentor. I would also say, look for consultant jobs. There's a lot of television and movies that portray military, whether it's Navy, Army, Coast Guard, all the branches. There's always movies and television shows being made about the military. So you have a skill where you can, consult and get your foot in the door that way. And then also, don't take a job outside. If you love the entertainment business, I would say don't take a job outside of that realm. I never understood why I saw people bartending or working in restaurants, and I would ask them, what do you want to do? And they'd say, "Oh, I want to, work in the entertainment business." Well, go get a job in the entertainment business. Start at the bottom. Don't be afraid to take the low position anywhere, because getting your foot in the door is better than not having any, not being in the industry or close to the industry. I would just, don't be afraid to work hard and, show them that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get in. So that would be my advice is, either seek out an internship, seek out a mentor, look for consultation to a television or movie production that is that's doing the military, that is portraying the military. A lot of times there are low budget films that would love to have somebody with your military experience on set just to make sure they get everything right. And that's that. So good luck. It's definitely possible, because I didn't know anybody in the entertainment business. And just through hustling and talking to people and reaching out and that was how I got in. One of my first jobs was working at a talent agency in New York. And the way I got the job is when I interviewed and I explained to the person I was interviewing, I said, I just got out of the Navy and I moved up to New York. I'm looking for a job. He hired me on the spot because I had a military background. A lot of the times, if you are a veteran, that people will open doors for you. So use that and don't ever underestimate yourself. Okay? Next question. I just started my own business 6 months ago. I have worked in the food industry my whole life, so I bit the bullet and bought a restaurant. Ooh, congratulations. To say it has been tough is an understatement. Yeah, I'm sure. In today's climate, it is hard to find the right employees, and when you do, it is hard to keep the good ones around. I know you're a business owner yourself. What advice do you have for finding good employees and keeping attrition low? That is a great question. And just so you guys know, I'm going to have a friend of mine, Jamie Cummings, come on the show soon. He is a former Navy SEAL and now works in executive recruitment. So he'll be able to give some great advice on this job market, what you have to do to land a job if you're an employer, what you need to do to find the right talent. So keep an eye out for that. I'll have him on the podcast soon. I think that'll be a great episode. So I can only speak from personal experience. Yes, I actually I have a production company and a logistics company. My logistics company, at one point, I had over 100 employees. So I definitely know the struggles of what it takes to build a business, find good talent, keep good talent. Excuse me. And in this day and age, it is hard. So congratulations on starting a business. But yeah, you're going to have to work hard to keep it going, building it up, and finding those right employees. A couple of things I could say are hire veterans. I'll always push hiring veterans. If you hire a veteran, what you're getting is you're getting somebody who's reliable. You're getting somebody who's going to show up on time. They know the value of hard work. They're used to getting up early and making the most of their day, right? A lot of times, people underestimate that, a veteran, they are used to the grind, right? When we're in the military, we're working, no less than 12 hours a day. We're hustling all throughout the day. It's not, where you see in the local shops here or local businesses where people are taking breaks all the time, or they're lazy about this or that. I mean, a veteran, they're coming out of the service and they're just conditioned to work hard and to do what is asked of them. So never underestimate that. I would say, first off, look for veterans. Put in your job posting veteran preference. That's always a great place to start. Second of all is, what I used to do with my company is I would hold events, right? Because attrition is always going to be a problem in this day and age, right? For some reason, I don't know why, people don't want to work. So what you need to do is you need to entice them to work at your company. And if that means spending a little extra money to take everybody out for pizza, to go bowling, hold raffles once a week. That's what I used to do. I used to go to Costco and I would get all kinds of cool prizes, from earbuds to I even got a flat screen TV once. And every once in a while, hold a raffle and let your employees win prizes. Do something as fun as a potluck dinner. Everybody brings something and you just enjoy. You have the restaurant. Enjoy the space. When you're closed, let everybody come in and have a meal. There's always something you can do. But yeah, that's going to be a battle, is trying to hold on to your good employees, because everybody these days is looking for a good employee. So if you have one, you got to do whatever it takes to hold them and keep them there. It was really hard to build up my company and hold the good employees. And like I said, I mean, you're going to wind up, you have to spend a little extra money to keep them. And Also have an incentive program, have bonuses, raises. We would have bonuses every week. I would have certain tiers that my employees would have to hit. And if they did, then they would get a bonus. And I was fortunate. I had a lot of really great employees. I had a couple that were not so great. And, that's the other side of things too, is you can't be afraid to let people go when you need to, when they're hurting your bottom line or they're hurting your morale. If they're not a good fit with your other employees or your business, you have to let them go. And that's part of being a good supervisor or boss, is that knowing, who's an asset to your company and who's detrimental to your company. You can't go in there trying to be friends with everybody. You're running a business. And now, that bottom line is going to feed you. And if you have a family, it's going to feed your family. So I would just say, to hold good employees, you have to incentivize them. To find good employees, I would start by looking for veterans. Like I said, in your job post, you can put veterans preference at the top. If you served in the military, we want to talk to you, something like that. But yeah, good luck. It's awesome that you own your own business. There is nothing better than having your own business and knowing that you're getting up every day and you're working hard, and that, the end of the day, all that you're working towards is going towards you, and you're not, trying to make somebody else rich. So congratulations on that. Work hard. You're going to be fine. There's always people looking for jobs. You just have to be diligent in finding them. Hope that helps. And let's see what other question we have here. Slade, I have been listening to your podcast and really enjoy the conversations. I am a huge fan of talk shows. In fact, you have worked on some of my favorites, Ellen and Steve Harvey. Yep, those were good ones. I was curious, what has been your favorite show and host to produce? That's a loaded question, but I will answer it. So first of all, thank you for listening to the podcast. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Ellen and Steve Harvey were both fantastic shows to produce, both fantastic hosts. But those are two different questions. So I'll start with the first one. The host that I enjoyed the most would be probably, Tony Danza has to be, man, it has to be Tony Danza. Tony Danza is an icon, right? Tony Danza he was so down to earth. And I was such a fan of his growing up that when I had the chance to work with him and to meet him in person, sometimes they say, don't meet your stars because you'll be disappointed in who they actually are. Tony was everything that I could have imagined. He's so gracious. He was so amazing to our staff. He would go out with us all the time, and he would initiate. It wouldn't be like we would, oh, Tony, you want to come out with us? He would initiate. He'd come, all right, everybody, who's coming out for, drinks? Let's go do this. He would come play softball. We had a softball team, and Tony would come play softball with us. He was just part of our production family. And he made it so that you weren't looking at him as this icon or somebody above us. We weren't putting him on a pedestal anymore. He was an equal to us. And I think that's an amazing trait for somebody of his stature to have, to make you feel so comfortable around him. And so I would have to say, just being around him and having such a good time and being in New York with him, he's like, when you walk on the streets with Tony Danza, it's like you're walking with the king of New York. Everybody knows him. Everybody comes up to him. And every time he'll turn and he'll say, if he's with me, oh, this is my buddy Slade. So if a fan is coming up to Tony Danza, you don't feel left out if he's walking with you. And that's a great quality that Tony has. He also, here's a great thing about Tony, is if I ever introduce Tony to somebody, he'll always look that person in the eye, say their name, and then shake their hand and say hello to them. A lot of times when celebrities, they meet people all the time and they'll just be kind of dismissive. They'll just turn, oh, hi, yeah, how are you? Or they barely even look at them. Tony makes everybody in his presence feel special. And again, that's a great quality to have. So as far as my favorites go, it has to be Tony Danza, just for the fact that, he became a friend. Matter of fact, I just saw him the other night. He was here in Los Angeles. I hadn't seen him in years. And as soon as I saw him, it was big hugs. The people in my party, my wife and the friends I was with, he came over, he shook their hand, he took pictures. It was just really great to catch up with him. My mother saw his Tony Danza's show in Florida. He brought her backstage. I wasn't even there. He brought her backstage and treated her like a queen. It's just the person he is. So as far as my favorites go, it's got to be Tony Danza. Now, for show-wise, producing shows, I would say that has to be Rosie. The Rosie O'Donnell show, the original Rosie O'Donnell show that was filmed out of 30 Rock in New York. That was my very first show that I worked on. And so it felt special to me. Everything was new and exciting. And, I was just learning so much. And the staff on that show was really, really like a family. I know you guys hear me say that a lot on the podcast on some of the shows that I work on. Not all of them, but some of the shows like Rosie and Ellen, the staff that was really connected. We would go out together. We would have fun. We had each other's backs always. And that show was, you got to remember, back in those days, it was 1998, I believe, when I first started there. And I was there for a few years. And then the .com started to boom. So money was great. There was nothing where, in today's world, every show is penny pinching and they're really strict about the budget that they're using to produce shows. Back then, we could do anything. I mean, the money was flowing. Business was great. The economy was booming. So that was one great thing. And that meant that the show can do a lot of things with the staff, a lot of morale boosting things. So we would go out a lot. We would have parties a lot. Our Emmy parties were epic. Like everybody from other shows, when we would go to the Emmys, they would all come to the Rosie O'Donnell party because we would throw so much money at parties and going out and having fun. So it was a real special time back in the late 90s, early 2000s to be working on the show, and especially the Rosie O'Donnell show. It was like the number one show on television. It was winning every award possible. Rosie was the most popular talk show host next to Oprah. In our genre of entertainment style talk, we were the number one show. So it was really a special time, and I was just learning so much. And to be honest, when you're that low on the totem pole and you don't have a lot of responsibility, you don't feel the pressure of everyday producing. When I started that show, I was an intern and then a production assistant. So all I did was have fun, right? Because I didn't really know responsibility yet. I hadn't gotten to that producer level yet. So it was just so much fun to learn the business and go out and enjoy ourselves. So I would definitely have to say Rosie. Ellen is a close second. I mean, we did so many fun things on the Ellen DeGeneres show. But again, I was already at the producer level. So I had a lot more responsibility, and that carries a little more weight on your shoulders. But Ellen was definitely a fun show. And really, all the shows I've worked on have been a lot of fun. Steve Harvey was great. The first Steve Harvey show that I worked on in Chicago was amazing because it was my first time in Chicago. And I had never really experienced how amazing the city of Chicago is. I mean, if you want to see people celebrate the sunshine, the minute spring hits, go to Chicago and see how many people are at the beach and partying and out on the streets right after the winter and the first sign of a beautiful day. It is something to see. And then when summer hits, the food festivals, the music festivals, just the food in Chicago, everything about Chicago is just so great. So to be able to be there and produce a popular, great show with one of the biggest icons in the comedy world, Steve Harvey, that was really a lot of fun too. But to answer your question, my overall favorite show, the Rosie O'Donnell show, my favorite host, Tony Danza. So thank you guys again for listening. I appreciate it. I know it's a little shorter this episode, but I just wanted to answer a few questions. And I'll try to do this every once in a while. So if you have questions, please send them to outstandingpeoplepodcast@gmail.com. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the show. Or if you have questions, leave them there. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful week. And then I have some really, really great guests coming up. So stay tuned for that. We have Jason Kurtz, who is the executive producer of The Drew Barrymore Show. So you're not going to want to miss that one. I have Chris Cassidy, who is a former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut. So I have some really great questions lined up for that. If you ever wanted to ask an astronaut questions, send me your questions. We'll get them out to him. And then I also have Adam Glynn, who is one of the, I met him when I was working at TMZ. He was one of the paparazzi there, and he is now broken off on his own. He probably shoots some of the biggest celebrities in the world. He has a great relationship with them. We'll talk to him of what it's like to be behind the camera and work as a paparazzi and have that relationship with the celebrities. So that'll be a real interesting conversation as well. So stay tuned. A lot of great episodes coming up on the Outstanding People podcast. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Have a great week.